So here we are, at the end of yet another year. This has been a strange 365 almost days for sure. The year started off with one of the biggest, how do I put this, happenings of all time? I won't say the name because I'll get demonetized, but it rhymes with Mona. Yeah. Yet, here we are, at the cusp of 2021 and ready for somewhat of a reset. Everybody gets a new chance, and aside from not getting a PS5 despite my very early pre-order and generally wanting to murder the moron scalpers, fuck you Val, we've so far survived this hell cosplaying year. So as to celebrate the end of the year once again, and me reaching a total of 1.5 million views, here are the 10 best games I played and enjoyed this year, along with the worst, most disappointing and most anticipated game. I re-experienced some classics such as Torchlight 2, but I also tried some new games like Made of Scare. Some games I haven't had the time to try out, mostly due to work, moving and other stuff in my personal life. And some I have decided to leave out. Anywho, let's just jump into the list, starting with the worst game of this year. Let's go back to the early 2000s. Gaming was on the rise and many stellar classics were being released one after the other. Ratchet & Clank, SSX, Kingdom Hearts and maybe the biggest of them all, Counter-Strike. Overall, while not considered the golden age of gaming, it was nonetheless great. Alongside these titans was another long-lasting game that's still played today, Warcraft 3. Warcraft 3 was so good, not only because of the story and gameplay, but also due to the fantastic custom game customizations and settings. Players could create their own campaigns and play online, even have huge ass LAN parties. I know, because I've been there. I've played Warcraft 3 many times. So imagine my extreme disappointment when Warcraft 3 Reforged was released and literally forced players to install both the classic and the new quote remaster with, and I hope you're ready, no possible way to only install the original version. In fact, Activision Blizzard even went so far as to block the entire fanbase from modding the game in any f***ing way, completely screwing over the infinite possibilities of custom games and campaigns. The game crashes randomly, sometimes it connects to another person but also not somehow. You know what, I'm beyond angry at this point and I'm just so disappointed. Honestly, f*** Blizzard. I don't give a shit about Diablo 4 when this is how the company treats their fans and their legacy. The game currently sits at a 0.6 user score on Metacritic, which it deserves. I'm disgusted and I have zero faith left in the company. They are very much like Warcraft 3 Reforged, a shadow of its former self. With the biggest turd released in 2020 behind us, we'll equip our bathing suits and bathe in some disappointment instead. Some games that I was looking forward to didn't quite live up to expectation, and although I have trouble playing horror games because they usually terrify me, I have played a large margin of the Resident Evil series. Both main games as well as games like Resident Evil Revelations and Code Veronica. Then I tried out the Resident Evil 2 remake last year and was blown away at the meticulous amount of work and detail put into it. This wasn't just a remaster with higher definition, no, it was a true remake. Fast forward to earlier this year when Capcom dropped a Resident Evil 3 remake demo. Many were hyped for it, including me. The demo showed some promise, truly. I had a lot of fun and so had many others. The problem came when the game released on April 3rd this year. The game was not that bad. The gameplay, graphics and sound was fantastic. The real issue was the length of the game, paired with cut content and no puzzles, a cornerstone in all main Resident Evil games. Again, if you're not expecting much or you've never played the original game, you'll probably not care that much. But remember, this is my most disappointing game of the year, not worst. I missed the clock tower, the spiders, the park, the gravedigger, and honestly, Nemesis feels like a nuisance rather than being scary, stress-inducing or terrifying, his main points. Games like The Last of Us 2 may have been disappointing for many, but not me, because I always felt that the first game was enough, a good closure to the story, hence why I don't really care about the second game. Resident Evil 3 feels, much like this year, incomplete, messy and lacking a soul. I hope Resident Evil Village can step it up a bit. I am looking forward to 2021 for many reasons. Hopefully a cure for Mona can be found. And hopefully we can start anew, a year of possibilities. One of those possibilities that I'm looking forward to the most is From Software's vague title Elden Ring. We honestly don't really know all that much about it, and teasers leave much to the imagination. Some things we know are: it will be a dark fantasy medieval RPG game, there will be a wide variety of weapons, magic and other equipment, it will have a large world, areas in need of explorations, new systems and action mechanics, as well as the overall mythos being written by George R.R. Martin himself. The environmental storytelling is back, and From also promises more fleshed out NPCs together with a, quote, psychologically painful story from time to time. The game is submerged in this thick fog of information and speculation. One thing's for sure though, this game has extremely high expectations, and I think it's From Software's biggest project yet. Usually I am one that doesn't really like to unnecessarily hype up games, especially before they released Cyberpunk, and look at where we are now. I have reasonable expectations when it comes to Elden Ring, 0. That said, it's still hard not to be interested in the game, because I think I'm going to enjoy it immensely. I hope I will. Number 10. You know that feeling when you scroll through your Steam library looking for something to play and you come across that little game and you wonder why you ever stopped playing it? That game to me was Darkest Dungeon earlier this year. This grim, high fantasy, Lovecraftian horror turn-based RPG dungeon crawler is highly addictive, replayable and ruthless. Here, lives don't matter as much as coin, and once you're finished exploring whatever dungeon you choose, if you so wish, you can toss them back to the streets and recruit fresh, new adventurers. Or you can invest in them, treat them for their maladies and reduce their stress. It's a moral dilemma without any real consequences. A nice spin on the more normal actions and consequences games that are available. Another game that does this extremely well without really directly telling the player is Papers, Please. It's this very depiction of what dungeon crawling would actually be like, somewhat, and the possible strategies you can employ that hooks you back in. The game studio is called Red Hook. The only real negative I can mention is the RNG and how incredible you can get if you're really unlucky. Exempli grat.
Strength, man. Wow! Bleed out from that. Holy God! This is the first fight! Okay, please don't kill her! Oh my God! Fucking hell. Please just kill it! No!
Still, the game is great and it's a perfect time to jump into adventuring when the second game is already confirmed and just around the corner. Number 9. A lot of games have been influenced by Heavy Rain since its release, and it's famous for a lot of reasons. And now, or 2 years ago to be precise, the very same company released Detroit Become Human, another highly successful creation. But in between, they also printed out another success.
Another one. Another one. Another one.
Albeit a bit more niche and hidden from the general gaming community, Beyond Two Souls. While Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human are more focused on the main character at hand as well as the choices, Beyond Two Souls has 2 main characters that the player or players can switch between at will, most of the time. The game looks quite amazing for its time, and it's great at appealing to non-gamers, bridging the gap and inviting people to try it out, even if gaming isn't your hobby or interest normally. And while the game looks amazing, the gameplay can be slightly hit or miss sometimes. QTEs aren't that clear, button presses not registering, no running button. Yet I played it with my largely non-gaming girlfriend and we had a blast. She played Aiden and I played Jody, and yeah, it was really fun. The game, to its credit, also has an option for choosing if you're used to playing games or not, which is just fantastic. Beyond Two Souls offers everything from tense, stealth and walking sections to full-on action, consequences and paranormal horror sections. I even jumped from being scared once or twice, not gonna lie. If you want to play a co-op game with another friend or something similar, Beyond Two Souls might just be the game for you. Number 8. The 1st of July this year was pretty awesome. During the day I was off doing grown-up stuff. You know, no, I was working. So when the evening rolled in, it was time to relax, rewarding oneself with an activity of choice, fitting for adults. If you know. So naturally, I tried out Unravel 2 with my future wife. It was something entirely different from what I thought at first, especially how the game played out. In time, the yarn unraveled and revealed something truly unique in many ways. The game is a puzzle platformer with a few twists and turns here and there. It boasts absolutely beautiful backgrounds. One particular focus when making the game was to make it largely based on the northern parts of Europe, specifically Sweden. And it's easily detected if you've ever been to Sweden before. This is a game where you can feel the passion of the developers through the game. They wanted to tell a particular story in their own unique way, and I think they really nailed it. This is also one of the few games I play with my SO, and it's a great contrast to many other games on the market today. If you like these more relaxing or easygoing games, I think Unravel 2 might be right up your alley. I look forward with excitement to Coldwood Interactive's next project. I just feel like they've found their own style. Who knows, maybe someday I'll start working for the company. That wouldn't be so bad. Number 7. Last year I played a game that I didn't expect much from at all. It was a game called Layers of Fear, a psychological horror game made by Bluebird Team. I enjoyed the story and the focus on more mindfuckery. Oh, I can't say mindfuckery? Oh, alright then. Okay. But that's why I often prefer games like Soma, Outlast or Fear. That's why I wasn't really surprised when Layers of Fear 2 managed to capture my interest, and eventually I grew to appreciate the direction the developers had chosen for this sequel. Instead of a painter and his house exploring pseudo-like realities, we now have an actor who is to take on a lead role aboard an ocean liner. During your trek through the halls and passages on board, you also get to know more about the character you play as, their background and plot. In true Layers of Fear fashion, there's a lot of mind tricks and scares to be had, including an antagonist. I prefer the psychological scares more to cheap jump scares, and even though Layers of Fear 2 has those, it's the eerie, discomforting scares and build-ups that is the most effective. They stay with you longer. Though there are moments when the game can be confusing, where it slows down in pacing or becomes stale, it doesn't take away from the fact that it's a fun horror experience. The game looks really good, and the film setting and actor angle really plays into how much I enjoy the game. Although I haven't been able to complete it yet, I will do it as soon as I have an opportunity. Number 6.
You like Castlevania, don't you?
Like? I like Castlevania? No, Mantis. I loved it. It was like a little brother to me. Castlevania was the stuff of legends, and now it's dead. It's okay. I don't think anyone expects anything out of Konami anymore. Speaking of Castlevania, I've mentioned many times that the future of Castlevania lies not within the series itself, it lies almost entirely with Koji Igarashi and his esteemed Bloodstained series. The 6th best game released this year is easily Curse of the Moon 2. I mean, it's not hard to see why. Curse of the Moon is basically the mega evolution of Dracula's Curse. Everything Dracula's Curse did back in the day, Curse of the Moon 2 also does, but better. Except for the music maybe, the soundtracks are both fantastic. See, when I play Curse of the Moon 2, it makes me reminisce of those early NES era classic Castlevanias, and I love it. The stages are varied and beautiful in all its retro glory. The characters are simple, but like a blank canvas, they hold infinite possibilities and combinations, especially when the sub-weapons come into play. It's a solid follow-up to the first game, and even though it doesn't really bring anything new to the table, it improves on some things. It's sufficient enough to warrant being in the top 10 games this year. Don't try to improve what's already perfect. Looking forward to a possible Ritual of the Night 2 or whatever else Ego wants to make. Number 5. One of my main rules is that I never play horror games alone, unless I am wasted. Absolutely wasted. I have no idea what's going on, and I still get scared. There are though some games that I try to power through, like Fear, which I haven't finished and I started it over 3 years ago. Someday maybe. But no more sidetracking, we're here for one of the best horror games available currently, and that game is none other than Amnesia: The Dark Descent. If you watch my former top 10 video, you already know some of my and my friends' thoughts on this game. Otherwise, I'll fill you in. Amnesia is not only memorable but still relevant due to its ability to build suspense and atmosphere. In the start of the game, there are no real dangers, but yet you feel like you're in danger. One of Amnesia's biggest strengths. And one of the things many horror games try to implement, although not as successfully. There is a reason why Amnesia is still regarded as one of the best experiences when it comes to horror. Classic games become classics based on not only their success, but their longevity. Final Fantasy VII.
お前はもう死んでいる。何?
Minecraft, Diablo 2, Heroes of Might and Magic 3 are some of these games, standing the test of time, a test that I have no doubt that Amnesia will conquer also. I highly recommend trying the game and going in as blind as you possibly can. Then you're in for a real treat. There's really not much else to say. Amnesia: The Dark Descent is just a joy to play. Even when it scares, the living shit out of you.
Should go high. What the hell was that?
Number 4. It's 2020, soon to be 2021, and still no new Ninja Gaiden game. I'm almost crying. I just want a new Ninja Gaiden. But in 2017 we got a game in similar spirit. You'll get the joke in a while. A mix between Onimusha, Ninja Gaiden and a bit of Diablo, called Nioh. And now in 2020 we got Nioh 2. A vast improvement and polish of the first game. More weapons, more techniques, more equipment and just more of everything. One of the best improvements with Nioh 2 is the ability to create a unique character. Quite an extensive character creator actually. There you can customize your yokai form as well. It's a great change and it makes you more invested in the story when you see your character make choices or more likely stand there awkwardly not doing much. Yet this was a huge improvement for the game, and although the lack of any real voice acting or lines takes away some immersion, it's still better than William in Nioh 1 I think. Aside from that, there's also been some improvements to combat, namely yokai abilities and yokai counters. They allow for player expression and skill, especially when within the yokai realm. New areas in every level where enemies are stronger and you're weaker. Nioh 2 is all about punishing mistakes and learning from them. And by God, it can be punishing. One missteps or one too many attacks can land you right back at the shrine. The respawn checkpoints. The setting, the additions, just everything really screams quality and quantity. And I think in some ways that's what a game should be all about. Number 3. And speaking of quality and quantity, Sucker Punch Productions surprised us all with a proper send-up for the PS4 era with the splendid Ghost of Tsushima. The game is just so darn fun, both to explore the absolutely breathtaking world or to hone your samurai skills. At first I thought it was another one of those, you know the ones, big, open world, side quests and freedom to do what you want within the boundaries of the game, grinding, immense amount of hours to do those former things, but I was wrong. Ghost of Tsushima is probably the first open world game I've played without getting totally bored after 20 plus hours of the same-ish content. The other game, strangely enough, was Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which is pretty good too in many ways. The approach of two completely different ways to play Ghost of Tsushima means it can be slightly personalized, along with armor and perks to fit into your playstyle. The accompanying world is nothing short of divine. It again looks breathtaking. Jin is a good main character with his own flaws and struggles, and due to the way the game is paced, you can relate somewhat to his journey and decisions. I can ramble on all the reasons you should play Ghost of Tsushima, but I'll try to compress it into a single sentence to pique your interest and make you play. Ghost of Tsushima is what every open world game should strive to be. Number 2. Alright. 2 bad boys, or bad girls if you prefer. You should almost have a hint now on which games these might be, as this series have become one of my more cherished group of games. Let's not linger, shall we? The second best game I played this year is Persona 4 Golden, ported to Steam on June the 13th this year. I was excited to finally finish the game once and for all, as I had heard of great things about it. And I was greatly surprised by the amount of quality and fun Persona 4 Golden offered. Despite originally releasing way back in 2012, the game has aged well and there are few things I dislike about it. This game's theme is all about facing and subsequently accepting your inner self. Otherwise, they'll rampage and try to kill you, one after the other. You also come across new team members who takes it upon themselves to solve a mysterious crime in a small town in Inaba that goes much deeper than it sounds. Between more serious topics, there are loads of funny moments, and I've laughed out loud on many occasions actually. Too bad I played this no commentary, otherwise you would have had some fantastic material of me just laughing my ass off.
You suck.
Is Hanamura already asleep?
Yes, sir! Fast asleep, sir!
Don't get cute, Hanamura!
I'm the king.
But it's hard to compare different Persona games to each other, as they all have something that makes them stand out, something that makes them great. Persona 4 Golden offers a lot of wholesomeness, a lot of intrigue, a lot of content, a lot of personas and many laughs. At the end of the game, it feels like you're about to say goodbye to some very real friends. It's a bittersweet moment, a testament to how impressive the writing and ending is in Persona 4 Golden. The game deserves every positive review it's got, and you owe it to yourself to play this game. Number 1. It's that time again. It's time for the Ultimate Champion. The best game I had the chance to play during the mostly shitty year 2020. Okay, I'm going to calm down. A little over 3 years ago I started this channel. And now, more than 3 years later, I'm almost up to 2k subs, more than 1.5 million video views, as well as a fantastic group of supporters. And it all started with a little game known as Persona 5. And this year, another game very similar was released. Let's go, baby! Persona 5 Royal. Yes! The undoubtedly best game I played this year was Persona 5 Royal. Even though I vehemently think they should have priced this game at 60 for new users and 30, maximum 40 bucks for those who already own Persona 5, this still is a hallmark of quality and polish, along with a story lasting for 100 plus hours and a lot of new content in comparison to the original release. Some well-needed changes to palaces, bosses, and the story as a whole was also implemented, lending to some new content for those that play Persona 5. I don't know what really did it, but when I played through Royal, it felt so very different to me. I'd forgotten some things, sure, but many things were like I experienced it for the first time. It was such a nice change. It's very hard to put down what exactly it is that makes me come back and talk about Persona 5 again and again. I think in some ways it's because I have such a huge appreciation to my fans and subscribers who keep watching the clips, and it just makes me so happy. The great characters, fantastic style and animation, that soundtrack, the story, the palaces, the strategic options and the Pokemon-esque collecting of fusions of personas. There's so much to mention really. But there's also a glimpse of something I can't really explain. Something very special. Persona 5, if I could say it, was and still is one of the best goddamn games I've ever played. And here we are, at the end of the list. Every notable game from my year. It's been a long, rough year for many known reasons, but also for myself. I am proud of myself for getting this far. I am proud I still am here today, still doing content that I love and just striving to be better in any way I can. I have many things to be happy about. I hope you've managed to find some positives in this tough time as well, because you matter a whole lot to me. Sappy as it may sound, it's true. But if I can't stop at the high point, again, I want to thank you all for the immense support you've given me. Also, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon if I have a say in it. So, well, there's a sub button and a bell button. They both work. it wouldn't be so bad if you wanted to click them both. So that's pretty much this video. I hope you're going to have an awesome 2021. You probably deserve it. Me? I'm going to take some time off, enjoy the new year, and I'll be back soon, hitting you with another banger of a video. Happy New Year, and I hope you have a great one. See ya, guys.